Yes, people, what's going on? We are back after a couple of days, and I have been sick. I've been choking, and I've had this snivels and all that. And I ain't trying to come on camera sounding all horrible and suffering to you lot. Do you know what I mean? So I thought I'd just take a couple of days off to refresh, get my breathing back to normal and all that. And here we are. But I'm feeling 110% and ready to go. Kenny Ken, how are you feeling, my bro?
I'm feeling really good. I was amongst the best away fans, and I consider to be the best away fans in the world, which is the Arsenal fans. But before we start, I just want the rest of football to know one thing: the state of play is Chelsea are still European champions. They're still the world champions. They're the FA Cup finalists from last season, and the League Cup finalists, and their clubs in one of the best run club probably in Europe. So all those fans trying to dream up Chelsea's demise and all of a sudden being political creatures who feel an outrage because of what's happening in Europe, preferably the old Eastern Bloc countries. Remember one thing: if you're an Arsenal fan, you wanted Usmanov in the team as part of the club. So let me just let that sink in before before the hypocrisy gene in your body um, betrays itself.
No, Kenny, I agree. I mean, I did mention in the title that we will be talking about. Well, I
Hmm.
hope I did because I forgot. Sometimes I forget what I put in the title. I just do this so much. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, we spoke about the. We're gonna talk about the Saudi media group that might be interested in taking over Chelsea. But before we do get onto that, I did want to actually talk about Arsenal and their form,
Hmm.
and they're just picking up points. They're doing what's supposed to be done, taking care of each game that's in front of them the way you're supposed to, and they're picking up points. But this one to me, yeah, in the manner
Hmm.
of which you won, some of the goals scored in that game was just, bro, it rolled back the clock to some of the Wenger goals that we used to see,
Hmm.
like the intricate passing and the lovely touches, and then just the nice finish to just round off a decent bit of football. But Kenny, there has to be some positives because I know you and Lee, you're realists, and I know nothing but winning
Hmm.
is acceptable for you lot. And I'm very much in that camp too. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. So I
Hmm.
agree with you. But we have to say that there has been some improvement in Arsenal. Now, granted, you are playing one game a week, but
Hmm.
you got to take progression where it comes. And I think the
Hmm.
football that was on display was A, beautiful to watch, and B, some of your players, in particularly Martin Odegaard, seem to be now getting into the rhythm of their football and building up that confidence. So, but what did you take from that game, though, Ken? Since you was actually there, live and living color.
Well, first and foremost, I'm never going to tire of saying how beautiful our fans were and how accommodating they were towards me. I had a great time with them as well. But the most important thing about the game is that I think the scoreline flattered Watford.
Yeah,
In terms of like they scored because of like a mistake down our out on side where Martinelli and Tierney were ball watching, and obviously we got a bit like too comfortable at 3-1. But in terms of football, I totally agree with you. Watford came to play. They needed to win, and it left a lot of space for a lot of our players. You know, First and foremost, in terms of football we're playing, when we have a lot of space, the players that are going to thrive is going to be players like Odegaard, who I thought was excellent yesterday.
yeah,
Saka,
yeah,
this is reminiscent of some of the form we were saying last season as well. I thought
hundred
his
percent.
involvement in particularly the first two goals was that exquisite. But I think special mention has to go to the fact that he robbed, cleverly, and he actually set up the chance and did a 1-2. Like I said, set up the 1-2 with Lacazette, and he managed to wrong for Foster. But all throughout the game, he was just terrorising Watford, right back. And even when he went down the left, he was exquisite. But one thing about Arsenal's improvement, it's for me, you know, I kind of disagree with some of the Arsenal fans who have painted Odegaard as the sort of the Melky Bar kid of our team. I think the best player in the Arsenal team, and he's proved that now. Now he's injury free. Is Thomas Partey. It's no
Yeah,
coincidence when he's fit and he's playing well that we play better football. He is the team. People say that Granit Xhaka is our midfield. They're completely mistaken. It's Thomas Partey. He's our midfield. He's our leader. He's the one who should really be candidate for our captaincy, not Odegaard, not Kieran Tierney. It's got to be Thomas Partey. Yeah, I agree with you, John Joseph. Dennis did have him miss the season, and the opportunities Watford took, which weren't that many, they didn't take it, and that's probably why they're in the position they are. But in terms of the overall, balance of the game, we were in complete control. I mean, in
100%.
terms of when you were on attack, Ben White, I thought he was phenomenal as well until he went to sleep for the second goal.
No, 100%. I ain't gonna lie. I think it was a good performance from you guys, especially on the attacking display. One thing criticism I did have about Odegaard, and I think I've heard Lee mention it a couple times as well. But it's, you see, when he makes that final pass, he doesn't always follow it on. But I saw him do more of that. Yeah, and that to me was like, okay, cool. Now he's, because that's a maturity thing. Standing there and admiring that final ball and hoping your player scores, that's a bit of a vanity and a thing. That's why I say it's a bit of a maturity thing. But the fact that he was following on from the passes, you can see it's a huge, like, that small aspect in itself is a huge difference in the player. And you're gonna notice that will get him probably maybe 5, 6, 7 extra goals at the end of the season from doing stuff like that. So it's encouraging stuff. Now, in terms of defensively, the criticism that I did have was, boy, Ben White.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hype comes from about this dude. The one centre back that I do like in the team, I won't lie, is Gabriel. That's one I've openly said, look, I think he's gonna, as long as he's managed properly, I think he's gonna become a quality centre back. Do you know what I mean? But Ben White, man, I'm not too sure about this dude. I think he could become a liability for you lot if you're not too careful.
The thing is that in the game itself, if you cut out his mistake for the second goal, he was actually having a very, very good game. Like he's developed a lot of dark arts. I suppose again. Sorry about that. He reminds me a lot of David Luiz in terms of the way he plays. He hasn't quite got David Luiz's technique when it comes to free kicks and shots from about 40 yards, and probably the goal threat in terms of his headers and scoring about 5 goals a season. He hasn't really got that in his game. But I see where you're coming from, because with David Luiz as well, there is a situation where he's too comfortable in possession, too comfortable, and too confident of his footballing ability to the extent that he makes mistakes like his mistake for the second goal. First, Xhaka's just sleeping and just letting him go through, and then Ben White was just thought he was on easy street. So yeah, that is an aspect that he has to cut out. But I think Arsenal fans need to remember is that Ben White was bought specifically because Mikel wants a defender who can bring the ball out. He knows Gabriel's there to attack the ball. He knows he's there to sort of use his athleticism and his pace to get us out of trouble. But in terms of like maybe building attacks, it's Ben White, because he's used to with Man City. Like one of the things that we've always noticed with Man City is that Man City's attacks can start of any part of it, anywhere in the field. Anywhere. It can start from Edison, it can start from Walker, it can start from Tshechenko, Cancelo, whoever's in the back four, Stones. That's how Pep plays. It's all about passing, but not passing through a long ball. It's just getting the ball into the attack in the opposition area at quick pace, but through passing and movement. And I suppose that's why Ben White is, preferred, in terms of what Mikel's going to look for. Who knows? A lot of our fans talk about Saliba, but again, I haven't seen enough of Saliba to make in comparison with Ben White. But from what I've seen with Ben White and what I've seen with Man City, I can understand why Ben White gets a lot of hype from the manager, which is the most important person, I suppose, and also for our fans. But yeah, defensively, it's risk and reward when it comes to it. And I suppose when we play better teams now, I think that's where, obviously, as a neutral, you're going to be very concerned and very watchful of how he deals with, Leicester, with Vardy, obviously Liverpool, and then obviously Aston Villa as well. That's a tricky game as well. So Ben White is going to have to earn his money during those 3 games.
100%. You do have 3 games in hand, I believe, but those games in hand will not be easy. I believe you have Chelsea, Tottenham away, and Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
Now, at this stage, under the form that you're on, they're not impossible games to get a result from because of the form that you're currently in. Now, obviously, it's being captain Michael Owen obvious here. If you win those 3 games, well, A, you go above Chelsea, and B, if you go above Chelsea, basically you've got top 4. Now, do you see yourself realistically winning those games? I'm not asking you from a pessimistic standpoint. I'm just asking you just in general. Can you see you like winning those games? Or
Well, to
getting
win those games,
at least getting I think for you 4 points would be great. That would be a fantastic result for you out of them 3 games. Do you reckon that's possible?
Well, if you look at the games we've had previously, we've won them, but we've had to grind out results, and there's been a lot of carelessness in their play and disciplinary issues, especially with the sending off in the game at Wolves. You know, Wolves should have beaten us at the Emirates, especially judging by their first half performance. Second half, we got a lot better because they sat deep, and then obviously Watford, you know, that scoreline flattened us. So one thing we are putting teams away, but there's loads of things we have to improve to win those games. Liverpool, let's face it, if they play to the best of their ability, then they'll beat us because simple reasons that Liverpool people just assume it's all about the midfield, the fullbacks, and obviously Salah, Mane, you know, like I said, Ruiz, so Diaz, and you know, players like, you know, Jota as well, but Firmino. It's also the fact that they're now a seasoned team where they now have the ability to grind out results because they got Van Dijk there, and they got tactically they're astute as well. So they're a team that got everything, all bases covered. They've got no weaknesses. Spurs is different though. You know, it's like a North London derby. You're a North London boy. Obviously, you're a Chelsea fan, but you know that since Gareth Bale and Danny Rose broke Spurs' duck against us, we've only won once at the Spurs' ground, and that was through a 2-minute strike.
That Danny Rose goal was so jammy, by the way.
Exactly.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, he never scored a goal like that again.
Yeah. Rosicky, but since Rosicky won the goal, we haven't come close. The closest we come to beating Spurs away is when Aubameyang missed that penalty. So Spurs away, you know full well, if we beat Spurs, then we probably deserve to get a top 4. Because as much as people say Spurs are no good, and you know we should go there and beat them, they still got Conte as a manager. They still got Harry Kane, and they still got Son. And then the game that you're talking about, Chelsea. Let's face it, you played to the best of your ability. And if there's a case where it's a 6-pointer and Chelsea are in danger of giving Arsenal anything at their own ground,
it's not happening.
Again, it's not. Yeah. You won't let that happen because what will happen is that if we have that kind of carelessness in our play, we'll lose against Liverpool, we'll lose against you, and Spurs will murder us. They'll take the game away from us. So our level of in performance has to go up by at least 30%.
That's the real test for you. Yeah, them 3 games in hand are a real test for you to see, like, okay, has there really been some marked improvement?
Well, you know, the thing is, man knows football. If Spurs, Chelsea, or Liverpool go in front of those games, you know full well that Chelsea will close it. We've got the ability to close it out. So Liverpool, Spurs, because of their crowd and the willingness, and you know, because it's Arsenal, have got the ability to shut it out as well. They won't let us back in. They won't leave the fridge door open, which other teams have done against us.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to Chelsea since I do have to pick up my son from the school bus soon. So let's move on to Chelsea. And unfortunately, I don't have Leroy Gunner here because, boy, did I want to rub this one in. 4-0 against Burnley. And my star boy, Mr. Kai Havertz, was on the score sheet. Now,
oh, there we go. Deary me, not again.
It is. The time has come, Kenny. I've been waiting for it. But listen, all jokes aside, that boy is going to be a star. I'm telling you. The way he ran that front line and just... Do you know what I love about him? It's just the fact you can see Tuchel just says to him, listen, Kai, don't be too rigid in your role. Just operate the channels, time your runs, and just pull your defenders. That's it. And just give this space for Pulisic or whoever it is that's just going to take that space. It was just great stuff to watch, man. But in terms of like that 4-0, This is why I think we're so dangerous in cup games, because of Tuchel's tactical ability and his just ability to just switch things up like this. Because the first half was disgraceful. It was absolutely diabolical. And I was actually thinking, all right, we're gonna most probably come out here with a maximum a point, or Burnley's just gonna steal this. Yeah, but then the second half just opened up completely. Obviously, once we got our first goal, the other three just came in one after the other. Now, obviously, the main talking point is Lukaku wasn't on the bench, was on the bench. But this is what people didn't really clock onto, and I'm surprised social media didn't really talk about it. The fact that Timo Werner was brought on ahead of Lukaku, for me, that said something. It did. I think that sent a message.
Tactical. It's
Are
tactical.
you sure? Because Burnley at
I
some
think
stage...
it's tactical. I think it's tactical. So the way you're playing depends a lot on quick. It depends on overlaps, quick movement, and players from different players taking up the role of false number 9. In that game, in the second half, especially when you got your goals, it wasn't just Havertz who was taking turns of being a false number 9. Sometimes Pulisic was involved in that sort of situation as well.
That's what I mean by the... Go on, sorry, Ken.
Yeah, and I think also as well, when Lukaku doesn't play, that enables Reece James to get into that sort of position where he doesn't have to cross the ball and he gets himself in those goal scoring positions. So in that respect, I'm not saying you don't need Lukaku, because you have to have a team of all seasons. But in terms of Lukaku's form and the way I say it with the greatest respect, because I rate the guy very highly. He slows your game down. And I say it respectfully, he slows the way you play down, especially your attack, because the simple reason is that the way Chelsea are playing, the quick passing, the interchange, and the false number 9, Lukaku very much likes to hold the ball up. He loves to play with his back to goal and plays on the shoulder. But you don't play like that. You don't play like that. There's a way where you can play in that team, because sometimes with Belgium, Martinez encourages Lukaku to go out to the right, go out to the left, and enable runners like De Bruyne and Hazard, or both Hazard, not just Eden, but...
Oh, Kenny, your connection's choppy a little bit. Hello? All right, I think we have lost Kenny's connection. Maybe his phone has just rang. But I don't know. We're just going to have to wait for Kenny to come back. Let me remove him and see if it works for him to come back in. Can't see his picture, but let me just answer this super chat real quick. Chike says, thoughts on Manchester Derby. Also, who would have been the first player to win the treble and the World Cup in one season? Right. So, Chike, first of all, I'm going to say thank you very much for the super chat. You are a big contributor to the channel, so I do really appreciate that. Kenny is actually back. There he is.
Sir, back, guys.
With a better picture as well. All right, so that's good. Yeah. But I was just while you were gone, I was just going to attempt to answer Chike's super chat. Who would have been the first player to win the treble and the World Cup in one season? You get no hints. Well, first of all, the thoughts of the Manchester Derby. It went exactly what I thought it would have gone like. Manchester City were going to get the result. I thought Aaron Wan-Bissaka were absolutely terrorized, as well as Maguire's mistakes. It was just... Listen, it is what it is. Manchester United, to me, they're a finished institution right now. They're just getting things... Listen, the way it's going, Kenny, look, they're just getting things wrong, because at this point, with the signings that you have, and you're not able to appoint a proper coaching staff to accompany that, at this point, you're screwed. Because the players on the pitch, they matter, but the coaching staff behind it, your tactics behind it, it also matters as well. They're just not getting it right. They're just absolutely not getting it right. In terms of signings, they're just buying high-profile signings that are going to sell shirts. I'm not saying that they're bad players, but it's just like there's no thought process behind it. It's like the one glaring thing that United have needed for not even one season or two. It's been a while, bro. It's not even a world-class defensive midfielder, is what I'm saying. It's just a competent one. who can
Mm,
screen that defense. Not even just one or two. They need two competent ones that they could have got for easy 30 million. It'll be interesting to see if they go for Camara, the guy at Marseille. I don't know
mm,
if he's a top world class talent, but from what I've seen of him, he does the basics properly and he understands his role well. And that's a start.
mm.
That's better than what I've seen from a lot of Manchester United players. But they're just not addressing these issues. They've got no sort of like I don't know. I just think it's all disjointed, mate. Like the disconnect between what's going on the pitch and off the pitch, it just shows in the
Mm.
results. That's just my personal opinion.
No, I think the thing with the Manchester derby, well, obviously, I didn't watch the game because I was on my way back from Watford. But there was some adjectives which you begin to associate with Man United since Sir Alex has left the club, and the thing is, the Rangnick appointment was just strange. The fact that you've got an interim manager and that you want to do a sort of roots and branch investigation on how to improve the club, you do that in June. The fact
Did you
is that
see? Did you see what Gary Neville said to Michael Richards as well?
yes, yes, I saw that, and it was quite an exchange. And I think the trouble is with Gary Neville is that Gary Neville has to accept that football has changed, and that the way when he talks about the Man United way, I'm sorry, but Liverpool had that situation when I was growing up, and from a child on over to a teenager. I was 18 when Liverpool won the league, and they were still using like phrases and buzzwords the Liverpool way, whilst Man United had run away with it. We're all trying to catch up with their coattails, and obviously you came along with Roman as well. Man United had the danger of putting their tradition and the alleged Man United way through rather than thinking about progress, and that's the problem. The problem they have, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the football people behind the scenes, so they have the money, and there's no doubt managers will have money to spend, but that's no good if the team doesn't have direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no. You need to get someone in there. It doesn't matter whether they're there for 2 or 3 years. Forget about this nonsense about having a select figure for 27 years or Arsene Wenger there for 22 years. That's unique. It don't happen now, bro. It doesn't happen, bro. Because basically what happens is that managers are all short term. They come, they win, they go to the next project. You know what I mean? And that seems to be the problem.
Sorry about that, Ken. This fever's kind of kicking my ass, but it is what
That's
it
all right.
is. We're gonna, the show must continue 100%. But no, we were, before I did answer the super chat, we were on about the Chelsea performance. I didn't really get to say too much about it because obviously time is a little bit limited today. But we've got to discuss Reece James, the return. You did mention him and obviously the role he's allowed to do when Kai Havertz is on the pitch. But Reece James just showed again just how important our wing backs are to this system, first of all. And second of all, he showed the world that definitely he is one of the world's best right wing backs, in my opinion.
Trent Alexander-Arnold?
No. I didn't say he's better.
But you think they're different, but they've got different qualities, haven't they?
Well, I'd say so, yeah. I'd say so, definitely. In terms of, but this is the thing is, I think Trent is better at certain aspects than Reece James, but not by much. So, for example, in terms of Trent's delivery of the ball, I think it's second to none. In terms of Reece James's, I don't think it's super far off. I think he can get there, but I don't think he's quite there at Trent's level yet either.
Set defender.
In terms of defending, now here's the thing. Yeah, I think James is naturally the better defender.
Yeah.
But I want to be careful in criticizing Trent Alexander-Arnold because I've realized, especially this season, whenever Trent gets isolated, that's the exact problem. Is he's isolated. Henderson and them man don't come and help him. So then smarter teams will double team him on that side and they'll just get past him. Or you're going to have a flary player who knows how to use his feet and he's going to beat the player as he would beat. And he might beat Reece James. That same player might beat someone else. But the problem is that he doesn't get as much protection as what Reece James does. Because remember as well, we do play in the back 5 and they play in the back 4. So it's even more important that he does have that support on that side when it comes to the defensive side. But what I will say, in terms of one-on-one defending, between them, Reece James for me is the better one. 100%.
I'll agree with you.
In terms of output, it's got to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. But again, it's also down to preference, Ken. It depends what you're looking for in your fullback. Me personally, I'm very old school in the sense of I like my player to do their role first. Anything else outside of that is a bonus to me. So I say that to say this. Reece is defending, and sometimes his positioning can be a bit sus, but Reece's defending, for me, means a lot more than what all the extras that Trent is able to do, because that's his primary role. Everything else after that.
The reason why I agree with you on that is because I think it's a Chelsea. I think Jose Mourinho has left a kind of DNA throughout your whole club. To start that, one of the things he enables you. He's basically the blueprint he's left is that he wants you guys to make yourselves difficult to beat and have discipline when you don't have the ball and discipline defensively. And I think that is kind of in your DNA.
Yeah.
So Reece James is definitely going to follow that blueprint. And when you play international football, I can understand that Southgate will probably look at what do these two guys give me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm trying to, when I'm trying to make our team difficult to beat, if I don't go for like Kyle Walker's pace or I pay a back three, who am I going to trust at right back? Defensively, he's definitely going to go to Reece James. But if he was to go down the attacking route, which a lot of England fans will like him to do, and stop being negative in finals, then I can understand it being close. But in terms of like creativity and delivery for his strikers, and obviously probably might give Trent Alexander a nod. But Reece James for me is one of the reasons why I think that if you kept him fit, and I say this with great confidence, and at the end of the day, it's only my opinion, I think you've been in a title race. You kept
150%, Kenny. I'm so happy you said that. I'm so happy you said that, because this is what I've been saying. I said, listen, the second everything went wrong was when Chilwell got that injury and Reece James followed suit. After that, it was curtains, because we don't play with wingers. What we actually play with are inside forwards and the false nine. We don't play with wingers. So our wingers are actually our wing backs. They're the ones that provide that width and put that delivery in the box. You get me? Or stretch the game. But Reece has that thing, and so does Chilwell as well. We're lucky in the sense where like we can adopt that kind of Guardiola thing where he started when he came to the Premier, he started tucking in the fullbacks in the middle. And then sometimes the midfielders will go on the outside of the fullbacks. We can do that with them too, and we see that with Reece James. Sometimes you see him infield, and you see him infield high up the pitch, and when he's inside that box, he's one of the players. Listen, listen to how crazy this is, Ken. I trust Reece James in front of goal more than every single one of our strikers. Maybe not Lukaku. I'm not gonna disrespect Lukaku. Listen, regardless of how I feel about him, Lukaku's record speaks for itself. I will not put him in the same sentence.
Even in England, especially in England, because he scored a lot of goals. He wasn't a poor striker for Man United. His goal return was credible, and let's not forget the goals he scored for West Brom and what he did at Everton, where he wasn't playing a particularly good side, but he still managed to top the goal scoring charts. Hence, why he got his move to Man United, and he proved with for Belgium he scored over nearly 68 goals or more, nearly 70 goals, and plus he did it in Italy. Let's face it, the way Chelsea play is difficult for him too. He's not fit. He didn't look fit when he came over. It was going to be a situation with Lukaku. First few games, he's going to play on what we call adrenaline, but then obviously lack of fitness, the injuries, told, and that's why when he's fully fit, you're going to see the best out of him. But is he going to be patient enough for that to let it happen, Chelsea? But Reece James, I've been saying this to you, off air to you a lot of the times, that it's no accident, Reece, that your top goal scorers were your wing backs, Reece James and Chilwell. And the reason why is because they surprise defenses. They create how do I say it? 4-on-3 situations. Like three defenders. All of a sudden, out your corner of your eye, you don't even see Chilwell on the left-hand side of the wrist.
Exactly.
So what happens is that you think they're going to do the cross. So do you stop the cross? Do you go and engage them and stop the cross, and then you leave one of the free attackers free to score a goal, or do you let them out the put in a cross, and then because the goalkeeper thinks the cross is coming in, they take one touch, boom, shoot, and surprise the goalkeeper. You know what I mean? So, and
No,
that's there's
100%.
no, you know what I mean?
Ken, I've got 8 minutes left. I'm gonna just run
Definitely.
through this real quick. Okay, so
Definitely.
with this, we spoke about this real quick off camera. I just wanted to touch on this before we obviously came off because there's a lot of people asking about it. But Nizar Kinsella from Gold.com has written Saudi consortium enter race to buy 3 billion value Chelsea from Roman Abramovich. The Russian billion. Okay, I'm going to skip that bit and just get to the main part. A Saudi private consortium led by Saudi media registered their interest yesterday to buy Chelsea from Roman Abramovich through Rain Group, a New York merchant bank that has been hired to find a buyer. Sources with knowledge of the situation described at least 10 serious buyers with many other holding interest. Who are the Saudi media and their backers? Although it is not known who the individual backers are at this stage, Saudi media are a fund that is heavily involved in funding media, advertising, and sports brands across the world. Their main content offering is for the pan-Arab broadcasting market. The company has offices in both Dubai, UAE, and Saudi Arabia itself. Now, the thing is, listen, as good as it sounds, we don't really know much because what he's saying is that it's a group of Arab investors and not one. So if anybody is thinking, oh, it's one of the sheiks of the royal family, no, it doesn't sound like that to me. It just sounds like a consortium. Now, that's not to say that that consortium doesn't have serious wealth. We don't know that. But in terms of, because I'm seeing, oh, the Arab money, this, that, and the other, no, we got to put this into context. We don't know that yet because we don't even know who this private group of people consist of. We just know that they're from Saudi Arabia and they've just told us the investments that they are involved in. It also says that, however, it's an opportunity to start a new, more transparent era at the club, and the Chelsea Supporters Trust, the most influential supporter group, has issued a list of requests to any new owners. They want the outstanding balance of the Chelsea pitch owners' loan to be repaid, which stands at around £8 million. They want that to be waived. Okay, so the way you read that didn't really make sense. So basically what they're trying to say is that they want that loan to be forgiven, waived. So alongside that, they're asking for more fan involvement in the club, support for the Chelsea's women's team, and following the recommendation of Tracy Crouch's government report on football governance. Although not stated in the manifesto for the new owner, the need to rebuild Stamford Bridge is a major additional issue. Although the club has many attractive aspects, including their TV deals and the quality of the playing squad, the need to redevelop Stamford Bridge could cost more than £2 billion after buying the West Londoners. So it's basically saying what we already know, and the fact is that this is not going to be an easy buy. So basically, whoever's coming in to buy Chelsea need to have deep pockets. But Kenny, you just give us our perspective before we have to wrap up this live.
Right. The perspective is that first and foremost, in answer to the situation, I think the British government rather you sell to America as well as the Saudis. And I think, how do I call it? The alleged, football fans who are basically jealous of Chelsea and Man City's success. We're going to say that if you sell to the Arabs, it's an Amnesty International issue. You know how these guys are. They're just a bunch of bores. As far as I'm concerned, they want to go back to the good old days. Well, I'm sorry, the good old days was when Sky stripped the Premiership of everything. But it's the most important issue that you mentioned.
Yeah,
was two things: the loan that you want to be waived to in terms of the £8 million. That is a loan to Abramovich. So you owe Abramovich £1.8 billion. Abramovich has said in print that he's going to waive those loans. So that £8 million is going to be part of that £1.8 billion that you owe him. So that's or is it £1.2 billion that you owe him? So that's not an issue. But you're right, the stadium is always going to be a stumbling block. That's something we discussed before. The reason why I say it's going to be a stumbling block is because Abramovich was halfway through being committed to it. Remember, he basically had the Chinese investment. There was a project he abandoned in 2018. You're going to build a new tube station across the stations. It's going to be called, I don't know if it's going to be called Chelsea FC or Stamford Bridge. Either way, it's going to be an extension of the district line. And most most importantly, everything was there in place. But obviously, with issues regarding his first links to Putin in 2018,
Yeah.
he abandoned the project because there was a situation over his citizenship. So if we want to put this in perspective, this is always going to be an issue for any prospective owner, and it's going to put people off, maybe because it put off the guy that you guys would like to buy. The British guy who's got investment. I think is in Nice. He's put his immediate stumbling block.
Matthew Radcliffe, yeah.
Yeah, Ratcliffe. What his immediate stumbling block is the fact that he doesn't want to sort of commit to the cost of a new stadium, which you have to do for a kind of commercial basis.
No, Joseph just sent me. Big up yourself, Joe. You sent me another article to do with it. But yeah, it's pretty similar to what I was reading from Nizar Kinseller's goal.com. This one here is from Fan Nation. Yeah, just similar talking about what we're discussing. But again, Kenny, this is for me, it's like this is where I have my comfort at the fact that anybody coming into Chelsea, their pockets has to be seriously deep, whether it's an individual or consortium, they have to acknowledge all of this. And Roman Abramovich has come out and he said that he wants due diligence to be done before he does sell the club. So in terms of the fans that are saying Chelsea's days are numbered and Chelsea's finished, you must be absolutely crazy, because when you come down to reality and you look at it for what it is, first of all, when we look at Chelsea from a real estate perspective, that location, one on its own, is one of the most attractive areas in London, and especially to the investors in the Middle East. They own a lot of London already. You see the Shard and all these places, the Qataris and that, they own that. Do you not think that one of these guys are going to be looking at Chelsea Football Club and Kings Road and not wanting to buy that, Ken?
100% they're going to buy. I say it all the time to people. There's two clubs with the right location in London for any potential investment. It's Arsenal, because Arsenal, you go to the Piccadilly line and go onto the Victoria line. Within about 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, you're in Oxford Circus. You're in Piccadilly Circus.
Yeah.
You're in Square. You know what I mean? From Arsenal stage. So obviously that's going to be very attractive, especially if you want to, catch a show in the West End and go watch the footy. Chelsea's it's just as attractive, probably a bit further, but you've got Earls Court, another attractive place. It's on Piccadilly line, Trojan Ace Court, and you go on District line and get to Chelsea. It's an attractive proposition. The real estate, actually, which you mentioned is really interesting, is actually more attractive to Chelsea, to any potential owner, than it would be around Islington. So yes, Chelsea for all. But the thing is, let's just display the myth, or dispel the myth about Chelsea not being an attractive club before Abramovich got there. You're always the Kings Road club. You had Sir Richard Attenborough as your club president. I believe when Bates was here, you're having players like Vialli, Zola, Hullet, all these, big names. All right, they weren't the biggest, the best players, but you were attractive to overseas fans.
100%.
So, and you had a bit of a pedigree because of where you were. People wanted to play at Chelsea because of the location. So I think people are really right in history when they think, oh, Chelsea have finished because Abramovich is
wishful thinking. Kenny, we forgot to answer the last part of this question.
You know what? Because I was cracking my head. I was thinking about
too.
it. I was going through the World Cup in 1980, the World Cup 82. There wasn't a treble. 86, where Argentina won it. 90, West Germany won it. 94, Brazil won it. 2002
was France. 98 was France.
Brazil won it. And you're talking about a treble. I don't know. He stumped me, this one, 2006, Italy won it. 2010, Spain won it. Can I go Iniesta? But
then Xavi would have been in the same boat. Then it would have been more than one player.
Yeah. Iniesta got the winner, innit?
Joey thinks it's Philip Lahm.
Yeah. I think he's got a point. But what did Philip? But they didn't
It's
win the
Wesley
European Cup.
Snyder.
Yes, it is Wesley Snyder.
Yeah, because there was that year that
But hang on
holiday.
it. Yeah, but
But they
But
didn't
they
get to the
lost in the
final,
final to
did they?
Spain. Lost in the
They
final to
did lose.
Spain, though.
They did. Yeah, you're right. They did. But no, it
Because
says
he
the question said. This question says could have, not did. It says could have.
Oh yeah, it's Wesley Snyder
Yeah,
because he won the treble with Inter
for Inter.
Milan,
Yeah.
and he got to the final with Holland. So yeah, it is that is a trick question.
Hey, before I go, what a player Wesley Snyder was as well. Do you know one thing that I'm grateful didn't happen is that that did happen. Manchester United fumbled that deal. He looked like he was a cert to go to Manchester United, and the form that this guy was on, set pieces, passing, long range shooting, everything, he had it. So I'm happy he never ended up at Old Trafford. But yeah, Chike, big up yourself for that. He's always asking them curveball questions, isn't it, Chike? But it's good. It just keeps
we need to do our revision. You know that we've got to revise.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But listen, on that
before
note,
you go, I've got a scoreline for you. Everton are
yeah.
getting actually thumped by Spurs.
Oh my goodness, what's the score?
3-0.
3-0. Oh goodness. All right. Well, Everton, they're in big trouble. They might get relegated if they're not too careful. So they need to be getting their results. But I really do have to go. We'll be back tomorrow doing lives on this channel. But in the morning, the first thing we'll be doing, I will be on Lee Gunner's channel with Northside London, Lee Gunner himself, and Eunice. So make sure you are there tomorrow morning on Lee Gunner's channel. Kenny Ken, make sure you follow him down there. All of the details are in the description, all clickable links. Same here with me. I've already got my phone bursting off. Yeah, so I've got to run and go and pick up my son. All right, but big up everybody. Bless.